everyone. Thank you so much for joining this episode of All of Our Appearances Have Been Canceled, the Not So Pageanty Pageant Interview Show. I'm your host, Marilisa Beatty. I'm Mrs. Pennsylvania America 2020, and I am here with Tara Songey, who is Mrs. Oregon America 2020. And I am particularly excited about this episode because, Tara, you happen to be the first queen I've had on in the Mrs. America class of 2020. And so that's super exciting. We are the COVID queens. So I think in the annals of Mrs. America history, we kind of have an interesting place. So I'm happy to have you here as the first. And also I'm very excited because your state is a state that I desperately want to visit and I haven't had the chance yet. So I'm going to be asking you some state-related questions to try to learn a little bit more about it. No pressure. But anyway, Tara, thank you so much for joining. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
I'm Tara. I'm Mrs. Oregon America 2020, and I'm super excited to do this. I haven't done a pageant thing for a couple months because, unfortunately, we're the COVID queens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of fun to look forward to this, and I think during COVID, having things to look forward to is really important, right? But yeah, this started out for me because I love Oregon so much. I've actually only been here a couple years, and I just felt this really amazing sense of community and this need to give back. And wanted to show my daughters just how much we have, right? And how it feels good to give. So I was Googling ways to volunteer. And that's how I came across the Mrs. Oregon pageant. I didn't even know this existed, and it really excited me. I mean, as a mom of two little girls, like having a goal, something to look forward to was really fun. I personally love the idea of getting all dolled up and wearing a sparkly dress. And I'm a hairstylist and a fitness instructor. So it just kind of made sense for me, the beauty and wellness industry I was nervous and it terrified me, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And so it kind of gave me the jumping off point to get more involved in the community while working with the organization.
I love that. And so for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, Tara, this was your first time competing in a Mrs. Pageant, correct?
Correct. I did a pageant. I won in my very small town. I grew up in a rural town in Flatonia, Texas, like in the middle of nowhere, 1,000 people. And it was called Miss Chili Spill. And I did that.
Wait, like literal chili spilling?
It's funny because it is a chili cook-off, but we have a lot of Czech heritage in our town. So it's spelled CZH, like a Czech. But yeah, it's a chili cook-off, and we would ride in the parades, in a hot Texas sun. It was so hot in our gowns, and those the floats are like foil, so you just feel like up there sweating. But I did that in 1998. And then I ended up going to one more pageant after that. Okay. But they told me my feedback was that the top was too big. And I was kind of a, really scrawny little girl. And I remember thinking like, oh, it hurt my feelings. I think I took it personal. Now I don't care at all, right? But I never thought about pageantry again. I mean, so here we are, 22 years later. I didn't even know this existed. And yeah, it was my first time running. And I decided, because we have strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes I just dip my toe in, but I never fully go for it. And I was talking to my girlfriend, we were walking, and I said, I think I'm going to do this pageant. I was excited, but I think I was a little nervous to tell people like, hey, I'm an almost 40-year-old woman doing a pageant. And she was like, Tara, if you're going to do it, you might as well go for it. And so I did. And I just decided to really put a lot of energy and effort into it. And I mean, now we get to go to Mrs. America.
Yeah.
How exciting that this is where this all led me. I'm super grateful.
Yeah, I love that story. And I can 100% relate to that because I had never done pageants. I got the idea in my mind and 10 minutes later, I was 100% in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now I'm changing everything about my life to accommodate this idea. So here we go. So I love it. All right, Tara. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure the viewers are happy to meet you. Why don't I just give you a rundown of the different categories we're going to cover, and then we'll jump right into the interview.
Perfect.
So the first category is called Pageanty Things. Okay. And these questions are all pageant related. The second category is called Hey You, and they're really just, opinion-based questions, things about you.
Okay.
Then we have a guest question. Then we have a category called Just Silliness, and this is just like the craziest question I could think of at the time.
Oh gosh, okay.
And finally, we finish with the speed round that changes for everybody. So I'll tell you what that is when we get there.
Oh,
So
yes,
let's dive into the pageanty things. So obviously you won Mrs. Oregon America. Can you describe the feeling of that crowning moment? The feeling of standing on stage and hearing your name. What was going on in your head?
I was super thankful. I just thought, wow, you did it. But let me back up for a minute, because right before that moment, when we were all standing there waiting for the announcements, I decided right then and there that I would do it again if I didn't win. Because I was like, this was so fun. And I hope that was your experience, right? Like, the women were incredible. We were backstage, like high-fiving, fixing each other's hair, and just really excited that we all did this together. And then the best part of it is, they called my name, and I could see, because we had a limited audience, my little girls were there, and they were just screaming like, "Mommy won!" And they were jumping up and down in the aisle, and I knew that my dad was back home watching with my brothers and all my friends. And I just was like grateful. I just was so grateful to everyone who supported me, that friend who initially said, like, if you're going to do it, you should really go for it. And just super thankful that, that I had the honor of holding the title.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes me want to cry, like hearing about you seeing your family, because so in my pageant, my family happened to be sitting in the very first row.
Nice.
And so I looked at my husband. He was sitting on the edge of his seat, and his leg is going like this. Like, he was so nervous. And just seeing how nervous he was, and I was feeling fine. Like, I was like, wow, I'm having a really fun time. And I just saw how nervous he was.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the most lasting visual I have in my mind from the pageant. So just how nervous he was. I was like, why were you so nervous? He's like, I don't know. I was freaking out.
With you, maybe. That's sweet.
Yeah. So, all right. So we are in about 3 months going to Las Vegas for Nationals Week. I want to know what you're most looking forward to, and honestly, what you're least looking forward to.
I'm most looking forward to, gosh, I love learning choreography. So I love the idea of us all kind of like being up there and dancing together, because also for the state pageant, that was something it was a little less nerve-wracking, right? Because we were just up there and having fun. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about getting to wear my costume. I'm going to order that tomorrow. So that's like on my to-do list, the first like official thing I'm doing. But I'm least excited about wearing those heels for 7 days. I don't know about you, but I feel like my feet are going to be really angry with me. Yes. So I've been practicing in those a little bit.
Yes, 100%. I agree with that. So, okay. So this next question kind of comes with some bells and whistles. So this is a question I call my favorite picture of you. And this is when I share a picture that it's the picture that you have shared publicly on Instagram. So, no copyright laws. But I'm going to pull up the picture, but I want you to tell me, what was going on in this picture. What were you thinking at the time? What were you feeling? And like, what's all up with this?
Okay.
This is it.
Oh,
can you see it?
I can. I love that photo.
So what's going on here?
Oh, that was my evening gown. I was hitting that pose right there. And just, remember your face is kind of quivering because you're smiling. And I was thinking about my why, like, why am I doing this? Because I knew in that moment after we did our walk, that we were going to be asked a question. So I was just thinking, I'm grateful, and why am I doing this? And just be me. That's all you can be, is just be you, Tara. But I remember I was pretty nervous up there, but I felt beautiful, right? I mean, you've got your hair and makeup done, and you've got your gown on. And I just remember, feeling like $1,000,000.
Yeah, I love it. The gown is gorgeous. You look so perfect and on point. And you're in such good shape. I was seeing this picture of you on the beach in this bikini, and I was like, what?
Well, I'll tell you what, I have definitely put on the COVID 10 And I am working, well, one of these days, I keep telling myself every morning, this is going to be the day that you lose that 10 pounds and get back to that weight. But I don't know about you. I've just been trying to be gracious with myself. And like, it's not about a weight, right? Like I can look beautiful at whatever number is on that scale. And I did work super hard to, feel really good there, but I'm hoping I can get back there. And if I don't, who cares? It's a couple pounds, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
How we feel inside rather than
for sure. And I think that, on stage in front of judges, what I think speaks more so is how you carry yourself. More so, if you have the perfect body, but you're walking like you're terrified and you don't feel good about yourself, that so much more will take points off from someone who maybe doesn't look like a model, but is like working it.
Yeah.
I digress.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to the next category I call Hey You. So these are the just kind of general questions about you.
Okay.
All right, so you're married, apparently. We're all married. We're in the Mrs. Pageant. So if you can kind of think back to when you were single and you were trying to find a partner, or maybe even with platonic friendship relationships now, do you have any deal breakers? So if this person is like this or does this, that's a no for me.
I never thought about that.
I asked the hard-hitting questions, Tara.
You're a tough interviewer. Deal breakers. Okay. One thing I did always notice, I don't know if I considered it a deal breaker back then, but I worked in the service industry for a long, long time. And if someone I was dating was ever like rude to our server, I did not care for that. That was just not a good quality. And what else? People who are honest. So if anyone like told me something that wasn't true, or even a little like white lie, or if it felt, you can kind of tell when something's not right, or maybe you're feeling somebody's holding back a little bit. I would say that would probably be a deal breaker for me too. Someone who is honest.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I personally cannot stand just when people are very closed-minded, or people who refuse to try anything new, point blank, won't even consider doing it or trying it or like tasting a bite of this food.
Right.
I get literally so mad about that. So I can't talk about it because I'll get upset.
Sure. And now that you say that, I had a boyfriend one time. He was a really nice guy, but I was like, hey, I really want to go on vacation. Like, it's been a long time. And he just didn't want to go. I'm like, wait, what? You don't want to go on vacation? Like, who doesn't want to go on vacation? Right. So kicked him to the curb.
Yeah, it's like, okay, come on. You only live once. Like, loosen up a little bit. Okay. What did you think was cool when you were young, but you do not think is cool now?
To be honest, like name brand stuff. Like I was kind of materialistic. And not that I could afford any of those things, but I like assumed that you had this, that you were maybe like well off or successful, right? And fast forward 20 years, that's really not true at all. I mean, I think how you act, how you treat people is so much more important than like what you're wearing or what kind of car you drive. And I don't like that about myself, that I was a little bit like envious of some things that people would have, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a process. We all grow and we change. Like I used to be into designer handbags. And so like in my 20s, certainly I had less money than I have now, but I would spend money on designer handbags. And I'm like, it's so silly. So my husband and I spent 2 years living in Boulder, Colorado.
Nice.
And that quickly changed things. And so I went to wearing fanny packs because we were always biking or walking or hiking. And I'm like, what is this name brand bag doing for me? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
I need something more functional, wear it around my hips. I don't care if people think I look like a dork. It's working for me. So they can go do whatever they do. Yeah. All right. Well, since you've only been in Oregon for a few years, you may or may not have an answer to this, but do you know any kind of fun, weird, or quirky facts about your state?
Yes, Portland has a leprechaun community. It's like this little, I know, isn't that so funny? Yeah, it has this really weird, it's like, it's not even a block, it's a small area, but it's this
Okay.
dedicated area to leprechauns. I mean, I think that's interesting. And also, Oregon has a ton of lava fields. And they're beautiful so much. A lot of our trails and the mountains were formed by volcanoes. And so there's these just incredible giant lava rocks that like if you'd ever watched, my husband did triathlons for a long time. So if you ever watched the Ironman in Kona and they run through the lava fields, like there's actually a ton of that in Oregon, which is super cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
That's really all I
I
got there.
eventually get to Oregon and check it out.
Oh, it's so pretty. It's just, it's so beautiful.
I want to go so bad. All right. So here's the guest question coming from a viewer of the show.
Okay.
If you could be immortal, what age would you choose to kind of stop aging at and live forever?
Ooh. I probably, maybe a couple years ago, would have said 28. So that was just like a really good year. Just my husband and I just got married, had a ton of fun, feeling like successful in our careers. But now that I have my babies, I'd want, and they're at really good ages right now. They're 3 and 5. And it's just like so much cuteness and sweetness still.
Yeah.
So maybe now I'm 38, I'm about to be 39. I feel like life is pretty good, but as long as it's immortal, like with no COVID stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever doesn't involve any COVID business.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I would pick 33.
33.
Which sounds like a really random age, but I've loved my 30s.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you really do realize a lot about, what's important and what's not important. A lot of things you worry about when you're younger are just like,
I know.
just so silly.
I was reading this magazine and it says, when I was younger, I was really concerned how to take my outfits from day to night. Remember that was like always a thing. Like, how are you going to transition from day to night? Now it's like you just wear the same clothes all day, and you might change your kids' clothes because they're all dirty. But you just, I don't know.
My trick was I would just like put on more eyeliner. I'm like, I'm
there you go.
This sweater from day to night. Let's just darken that eyelid. Like, done. Oh my God. Okay.
A lot as we get older, and we let go of stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I feel, do you have kids?
No.
Okay. So I feel like as I go to teach my kids things, it makes me reevaluate how I look at stuff, right? Because you're trying to teach them these wonderful lessons and how to not judge people and how to be inclusive and just be a good human, and you realize some of your thought patterns like maybe best.
Yeah. So one big thing I've learned, and I guess related to not having kids, is so my husband and I struggled with infertility. And so we're child free, not by choice, basically. But one thing that had taught me is just to be much more just, gentle and understanding of other people. If other people are acting in a way that I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, wait a minute, I have no idea what's going on in the background of their life. I think before that, when I was younger, I would just kind of assess a person based on our interactions, but you really don't know what at all is going on in their home life. If they're dealing with any mental or emotional issues, people may make decisions that I wouldn't make, but there's more context to then what I know. And it took me going through those very difficult years to understand that. Because when I was younger, it was like everything's black and white.
Yes.
You should be friendly and happy all the time. Like, not the case. People have stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right. So this question is this is the just silliness questions. There's only one of these, thank God. Which body part would you wish to detach if you could, and why?
I have a strange toe. Like just a little short guy. I may just get rid of him.
Yeah.
No need to.
I'm pretty sure when we're in Las Vegas, we're going to want to detach our feet. Like at the end of the day, like either put our feet on ice or in a hot tub or like.
I know. Yeah, probably that little toe. That is a really funny and random question.
Little toe. Got it. Detachable. All right, Tara. So you survived so far. So now we're going to go to the speed round.
Okay.
These are, I think I have 5 would you rather questions, and
Okay.
it's Oregon themed would you rather.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can just answer the question. You don't have to explain why, but if you want to explain your answer, you can.
Okay.
Okay. Oregon themed would you rather? Would you rather watch the movie The Goonies or watch the show Portlandia?
The Goonies, for sure.
So good. Such a classic. Would you rather play the Oregon Trail or watch the whole Twilight series?
Play the Oregon Trail.
Oh, so good, right?
Yeah.
I died of dysentery every time. What did I write down here? Okay, would you rather visit the world's tallest barber pole that is in Forest Grove or the Earth Room that is in the Blue Mountains?
Oh, that mushroom. I remember reading about that. That's a good little Oregon fact too. I would visit that for sure.
Yeah, apparently it's huge. It's like the largest living organism on Earth, apparently.
No. And it just creates a really weird mental picture too. It's hard to like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah. Interesting fact. So in Pennsylvania, we have a town that is the mushroom capital of the world.
Oh.
So we have a lot of mushrooms, but you guys got that one big one. So coast to coast. Okay, would you rather visit the beach or the mountains?
The beach.
Yeah.
I say I'm a mermaid in the mountains because I love like everything sand and sun. You know, I grew up in Texas was like hot and hotter, you know, were the seasons. But I love living here in the mountains where we have 4 seasons. It's so wonderful. But I think since I live here, especially, I would go to the beach and swim in the ocean. That's like my happy place.
Yeah. I want to go there now. All right, so last question. Would you rather spend a day as the state fish, which is the Chinook salmon, or the state animal, which is the beaver?
You know, I'd say the salmon because how cool it would be like snorkeling, like a really, you know, adventurous snorkeling trip, but where you weren't terrified because I love the ocean sometimes, like snorkeling out there. If I'm too far away from the land, kind of freaks me out.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, fish out of water would be a good description. Like, I don't know. I respect the ocean. I have a lot of respect for all the things that are down below. So yeah, I'd be the salmon and then I'd eat it.
And then you'd eat yourself. Okay. So when you transform back to, you would eat the salmon that you were for that whole day. Wow. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, luckily you don't have to be any state animal, but you are the state queen. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. I know it's kind of crazy. But is there any last thing you want to say to the people before we go?
Oh, guys, I'm thankful to you for hosting this, and I can't wait to go to Vegas and meet you in person. And to anyone watching who has questions about pageantry, I hope you'd agree, it's been like the most lovely, incredible experience, and I'm so grateful for it. And I think if you are even a little bit interested, that you should reach out to us and give it a whirl. Why not, right? I mean, we're here to grow and live, and it's been just a life-giving experience for me, something to focus on during COVID.
That is for sure.
You know? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tara. Can't wait to see you in Las Vegas. We can soak our feet together. All right. Well, you enjoy your day, sweetheart. Thank you.
Bye.